Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Drunken Hubby. Daisy's coming to say hi too. Say hi girl. Yeah, hi girl. Do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you can get notified whenever I make a new video. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that like button. Isn't that right? Say hit the like button. Alright, so I'm still working on that vodka. Right here. No, you can't have none of this, Daisy. So I still got the vodka. And no, I'm not doing it straight today. Using a soda. Sorry everybody, I'm not sure what's going on with my computer video quality lately, but for some reason it keeps lagging pretty bad. So I do apologize about those videos. I'm still trying to get it nailed down. I did recently add some more RAM to the computer. It is at its max, and for the time being I have to wait until I have enough to upgrade to a faster CPU. So please be patient. For the model of computer I have, the processor next up from what I have is about $400. It's not cheap. Excuse me. Alright. Yeah, I like it better when it's mixed with a lime soda. I do apologize. The content, the videos, I have been under the weather a little bit. My beloved Emmy, she's also not been feeling too well either. So kind of just got a lot going on, trying to catch up with work and figure out new content that y'all might be might be wanting to see. So I've got a few ideas, but I'm not sure what route to take. So I guess I'll just have to try it out and see what y'all like and which ones you don't. But this week, let's talk about being true to yourself. So a lot of people don't really know what that is. It's this kind of a vague, ambiguous topic. You know, what does it mean to be true to yourself? Is it, sticking true to what your vision of your life is supposed to be, or do you think it is always putting yourself first above others? Or do you think more of is it supposed to be keeping your integrity, even when nobody's watching? There's an old saying: the you that you choose to be behind closed doors when nobody's watching is the real you. So are you that same you when you're out among other people, friends and whatnot? Or are you something different? Do you put on a fake face when you're around others? Are you chasing your dreams and your goals? Or are you putting it to the side for the sake of others around you? And if you are doing that, what's the reason? The others around you that you're doing that for, who are they? Is it your loved ones? Is it something that is more of a need? Putting a need ahead of a want? That is still being true to yourself if you're putting needs ahead of wants. Now, if you're putting someone else's wants ahead of your needs, or even their own needs, I don't really feel like that's being true to yourself. Speaking of being true to self, I know for a long time I've been guilty of not being true to myself. And if I'm being honest, I didn't even really realize completely what I wanted out of my life until I met Emmy. And even before I went to the Philippines and just, was talking with Emmy and we were making plans for our future together, it wasn't until I actually went over there and fell in love with that place and I finally realized what it was I wanted to do. That's when I realized that I want to have a home over there and retire over there. The people, the landscape, the food, it's all so wonderful and amazing. And I just feel drawn there. Like that's my home. That was supposed to have been my home the whole time. And that's when I kind of just woke up and like the light bulb went off. Like, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. And that's what I've been chasing ever since. And I'm not proud of this, but before Emmy, the longest I've ever held a job is maybe a year. That doesn't count temp agencies, because temp agency is multiple jobs. I'm still working for the one place. So I mean, if you're counting temp agencies, there was one place I was with for 5 years. But as far as actual through the door hire, one job, this is the longest I've ever done it. And it's thanks to Emmy helping me realize what my dream was, showing me how to be true to myself. So the only way I could be true to myself was leave my old life behind, let everything go, and start moving on, moving forward. I started focusing on one milestone at a time. Focus on getting my forklift certification. So I got that, and was focusing on just going to work, making a check, and doing what I needed to do with it. I focused 1 week at a time, and I'd set certain goals because I know where I want to be at the end of it all. I know exactly where I want to go, and I know that there's a lot to do in order to get there. But Amy helped me see that it's possible to do. Before Amy, I never owned a passport. I had never been on a big plane. I'd never even been out of the country. Yeah. So, I met her and we started developing a relationship, and we decided I'd come out and see her for her 39th birthday. And so I did what I had to do, got my passport, saved up, got my tickets. I actually was able to save money when I stopped doing, certain things I had always been doing in the past that weren't getting me anywhere. That's a story for another time. But yeah, once that light bulb started to turn on I knew what I wanted to do, found out what it was I had to do to get it, got my passport, got my plane tickets. You cannot take a train overseas unless it's going under the water. I'd be too scared to do that. And I went over, and I almost couldn't make, because there was the original place that I was going to land in was Manila, and it was set to go on lockdown the day I was going to land, and then I wouldn't have been able to come from Manila to go see Amy because she doesn't live in Manila. But so I'm on the phone for 3 days straight with the third party that I had bought the tickets from, and that was a lesson in of itself. If you're gonna buy an airline ticket somewhere, don't go through a third party. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Spend an extra few bucks. Get it directly from the source, whether it's airlines. A lot of people. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm getting a little. Whether it's through Korean Air or Delta or American, whatever it is, go directly through them to get your tickets. Because I went through one of those little travel agency companies that are mostly online, and I understand with what was going on with COVID, there was a lot going on, but I'm not going to name who it was, but it was nearly impossible to get anyone to answer the phone. When they did answer the phone, almost nobody knew how to do what it was they needed to do, or what it was they needed to do, or anything like that. And I kept having to ask to be transferred to a boss. And for the longest time, nobody even wanted to do that. So it was around the third or fourth day, and I finally get a hold of someone, and I'm explaining to them the situation. I said, look, this is what's happening because of the whole COVID, blank, 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 blah, blah, blah. If I land where I'm supposed to land, where my destination is set, I'll be trapped there. I need to change to destination B, which at the time was going to be Clark. Clark was not, at the time, going to have any closings. So finally got in touch with a manager that was up there that knew what she was doing, and in a space of about 30 minutes she had me printed out a new itinerary and everything was set. I was going to land in Clark. So yeah, I was determined. I wasn't going to let something get in the way of me getting to where I finally knew I wanted to be. So anyway, after I got that straightened away, I'm on the airport, landing Clark. It wasn't until I landed in Clark and I was finally able to get the little airport Wi-Fi on my phone, because I don't have service. They don't have Straight Talk over there. Their services over there are way different. But anyway, it wasn't until I landed and finally connected to that Wi-Fi and got in touch with Amy. She was like, they're putting it on lockdown, no more public transportation and blah blah blah. She went out of her way to borrow her landlady's private car, and got the landlady's brother to drive her and son-in-law. I think it was Mac that accompanied her. But yeah, so the day I landed, they put a whole island on lockdown. There was no public transportation. Thankfully, if you had private transportation, you can go out. And the airport security, stamped my visa. They said I had to go to in-house quarantine. So thankfully, because I explained I already had somewhere I was going, was visiting a friend and all that, blah blah blah, so they let me through, and I got to spend 2 weeks in quarantine, with Emmy and the kids. And then, the lockdowns just kept coming. I ended up spending 2 months over there. That was an amazing 2 months, but it was in that 2 months, spending time with Emmy and the kids and the grandbabies, that kind of life hit me over the head. Boom. This is what I want. This is what I want to spend the rest of my life with. So I think one of the biggest things that kind of really pulled me in, when we sat down, it wasn't even just dinner, and it wasn't just Sunday dinners. This was every meal. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There were no cell phones, computers, or video games, none of that. All of that was done, put away. There was 9 of us, so we couldn't sit all around the little table. So we had this. They had these. I forget what they called it, but it's like a roll of plastic tablecloths. Basically, it's like a disposable roll of tablecloths. And you pull one out, you spread it out over the floor, and you put the food on it. And everybody'd sit on the floor around the food, and we sat there as a family every meal. And everyone was laughing and joking and eating and smiling. And I loved it. And I want to go back to that. I miss it. You know? There's a lot over there kind of goes back to a simpler kind of life. So even if there's no running water, so okay, so what? Well water, pump the water, manual in the pump. If you go to the other channel, Getting to Amelia, you see some videos where we're pumping the water, just doing laundry by hand and stuff like that. Okay, it's a simpler kind of life. I enjoyed it, and that's what I want to go back to, and that's what Emmy has been preparing, ever since. And found a nice little piece of land that we've been developing for a year now. It's kind of like inside of a mountain, a really big hill. And from the top of the hill, you got this gorgeous view of the mountain chains going around Nueva Vizcaya. And you can even see the river kind of meandering through the mountains. And then halfway down the hill is where we're building a house. As you go further down, you got a rice paddy. And then off to over here, if you're looking from the top, right where our path starts, our driveway to go down to the road, there's this big giant mango tree. Amy's got like a hammock and tables and stuff like that, just sitting under the shade of this big mango tree. And it's just gorgeous, man. And growing squash and green beans and tomatoes and growing our own rice and fruits and vegetables. Man, I really, 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 really just want to hurry up, get done paying for it, marry Emmy, and go home. That's all I want. So in the spirit of being true to myself, I get up every day, I go and bust my butt at work. I spend as little on myself as I possibly can so that I can reach my goals. And to me, that's a part of being true to yourself, is doing what you got to do to reach your goals. If you've got to sacrifice certain parts of yourself for the greater good of your goals, don't sacrifice others. That doesn't cut it. That's just being selfish. But when being true to yourself and you make that about enriching the lives around you, the people that you love, it puts a whole new depth to that, a whole new satisfaction. I can't tell you how many times seeing Emmy and the kids laugh and smile, the kind of satisfaction and gratification I get from that. This is so much more fulfilling than materialistic gratification. So if you're pursuing materialistic gratification, it feels good for a little bit when you get what it is you're going for, but after a while that hole is still there. You still feel empty. You feel like you need more, and you need more, and you need more. When you think about it, who needs to drive 15 different cars? Who needs to own 20 different houses? Who needs to own hundreds of thousands of acres of land they're not even really going to use? Their idea of personal worth is what they own. It's all about self gratification of the material. That's not what being true to yourself is about. Not from my perspective, anyway. Me, I don't need all of that. What I need, what I want, are starting to align, and a little piece of 3 acres over there, that's plenty. Growing our own food so that we don't have to go and spend money at the grocery store to get it, that's fulfilling. Meeting the needs of my loved ones, my future wife and children, that's fulfilling to me. Knowing that I'm doing something with my hard work and it's not just going to waste just to pay bills and just sit and barely exist, that to me is fulfilling. I have a car. It runs. It gets me from point A to point B. From point C, it took me all the way to Michigan and back, no problems. So I've got a good little car. I don't need anything fancy. Now, if the stars align and one day I'm blessed with something really nice, okay, I'll be grateful for that. Am I going to go actively seek it out? No. No. So that's not what I really want. What I really want, with every fiber of my being, I swear to goodness, all I really want is to marry the woman of my dreams and spend the rest of my life with her on that little piece of dirt. That's all I want. And if Almighty Yahuwah finds it in His will to grant me that, I'll be more grateful than anybody else could ever possibly understand. Even now, just thinking about it, I'm choking back tears, because that's really, honest to goodness, all I want. I don't want to be rich. I don't want to be famous. I just want to marry the woman of my dreams and retire and spend the rest of my life with her. That's all I want. That's all I want. And to me, that's how I'm going to be true to myself. And if I end up being a blessing to those around me along the way, then that's awesome. That's more icing on the cake. But am I going to use people in order to get that? No. Am I going to violate my personal beliefs to the point I can't look in the mirror? No. If it's not something that Almighty Yahuwah wills for this lifetime, that's okay, because there's still eternity. And that's what everybody keeps forgetting. Or maybe you don't believe. This life here is temporary. It's a test. Okay? If you're stuck on holding on to this life and the things in it, then you've already gotten your reward for this lifetime, and there isn't going to be one in the next. But if you're willing to trust Almighty Yahuwah and you let go of this life, let go of your life in this lifetime, and follow Him and trust Him, and not focus on the worldly things, you'll find that there's so much more enrichment and wealth to be had, spiritually, mentally, and how do I put this? The actions you take in this lifetime that are based on your faith will determine what kind of eternity you're going to have. If you confess out of your mouth that you believe in Yahusha, Jesus, but you don't act on it and you're still following a worldly way, then the worldly way is all that you're going to possess. It's all that you're going to inherit, and the fate that comes with it. Maybe you don't believe. From my perspective and my belief, those that don't believe are also going to share in the same fate. Excuse me. But those that do take a leap of faith, do their research into Torah and the Apocrypha, that is the books that were actually taken out of the Bible prior to 1611. That's right, there were other books that used to be a part of the Bible that were taken out. Do your research. Anyway, if you really want to be true to yourself, ask yourself this. First, in whose image were you created? What rules did that Creator give to you to follow? Are you following those rules, or are you following man's rules? If you find that you're following man's rules after you ask yourself these questions, seek to discover how to follow the Creator's rules, the true Creator's rules. Therein lies part of the problem in this world, is the multitude of deceptions. So you have to compare worldly concept, biblical concept, and not just according to the canonized. And you can even still use the canonized Bible if you actually pay attention to every part of it, and not just only what mainstream modern day Christianity tells you to believe. Do your research. I'm going to leave you all on this note, and I'll talk to you later in the next video. Bye!